For most of the 1990s and the 2000s, the Caterpillar 336 was the excavator on every serious commercial construction site, from Hamburg to Houston. Yellow iron in the dirt. Yellow iron on the foundation pour. Yellow iron over the trench. The 320 for utility work, the 336 for general earthmoving, the 374 for heavy excavation. CAT's market share in the global hydraulic excavator segment was the kind of share competitors stare at and feel sick. Then, quietly, across the back half of the 2000s and through the 2010s and into the 2020s, something changed in the operator's seat. The operator who had run a CAT excavator for 15 years started spec sheets coming up for renewal that read Volvo EC 480E, then Volvo EC 300E, then Volvo EC 220E. The reason had nothing to do with marketing. The reason had everything to do with the fuel bills, the cab ergonomics, the joystick logic, and the lower back at the end of the 11-hour shift. And the operators who switched knew exactly what they were doing. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe. We document the corporate decisions inside boardrooms in Peoria, Chicago, and Irving, Texas, that hollowed out one of the most respected industrial brands of the 20th century. The data tells the story. Before we get to why operators switched, you have to understand how CAT built the excavator dominance in the first place. The Caterpillar hydraulic excavator was, for 30-plus years, the benchmark machine. CAT invested heavily in breakout force, in hydraulic flow, in boom and stick configurations that could move serious material on serious cycle times. The 336 in particular was designed around a positioning philosophy that prioritized raw mechanical capability. Pull harder, lift more, push deeper. The marketing reinforced it. The dealer network sales pitch reinforced it. The contractor's bid sheet, when comparing machine specs side by side, rewarded it. If the bid sheet asked which excavator could move more cubic meters of overburden per shift on a hard pan application, the CAT answer was usually competitive. The decision was rational. The operator who spec'd CAT was specifying for a known capability profile against a known job spec. That positioning was built on a specific corporate culture. Caterpillar through the 1990s and early 2000s was still substantially an engineering-led company. The headquarters sat in Peoria, Illinois, the factory town. The product engineers lived near the test pits. The dealer network was the most responsive in the industry. The institutional muscle for incremental improvement on the excavator line was real. Year after year, the 336 got slightly better hydraulics, slightly stronger booms, slightly smarter control logic. Competitors competed. Komatsu competed. Hitachi competed. Volvo at that point was a peripheral player in global excavators, still rebuilding from the VME Group years and the partnership with Michigan, Euclid, and Clark that had been formed in 1985 and fully consolidated into Volvo Construction Equipment in 1995. Nobody was using the word Volvo and the word excavator dominance in the same sentence. Two things changed in parallel. The first was a corporate decision pattern at Caterpillar that started to drain the engineering culture out of the company. The R&D budget compressed as a percentage of revenue. The share buyback programs grew. The executive compensation structure was reweighted toward financial metrics that did not directly reward the kind of operator experience investment that an excavator product line needs to stay ahead. In 2017, the headquarters moved out of Peoria to the Chicago area. In June 2022, the company announced it was relocating again to Irving, Texas. The institutional center of gravity was moving farther from the factory floor and closer to the financial markets. The MBA suits won the internal argument. The pencil pushers won. The engineers who had defined what a CAT excavator was supposed to be started to lose internal leverage. The second thing was Volvo Construction Equipment doing something that, in retrospect, looks obvious, but at the time was a long bet. In 1998, Volvo CE acquired the construction equipment division of Samsung Heavy Industries in South Korea, based in Changwon. That acquisition gave Volvo CE a serious excavator manufacturing base, a Korean engineering team with deep hydraulic expertise, and a platform on which to build the operator-first product philosophy that would define the EC series. The Swedish engineering culture that ran Volvo CE treated the operator in the cab as the customer, not the contractor signing the purchase order, not the fleet manager comparing spec sheets. The operator who would spend 11 hours a day, 6 days a week, for 15 years, in that seat, with those joysticks, looking through that windshield. The product investment went into the cab. The fuel monitoring, the hydraulic precision at low-speed precision work, the seat ergonomics, the boom and stick logic that minimized wrist motion, the Volvo Co-Pilot integrated control system. Year after year, the Volvo EC series got more invested operator experience tuning, and the Caterpillar excavator line got more spec sheet improvements that did not show up in the seat at the end of the shift. The data started to talk. Operators running comparable applications on Volvo EC and CAT 336 platforms started reporting consistent fuel consumption gaps in Volvo's favor. The Volvo cab interior, when surveyed and benchmarked against the CAT cab, scored consistently higher on operator comfort metrics. The Volvo Co-Pilot display gave the operator actionable data on fuel burn, hydraulic pressure, and cycle efficiency in a layout that worked at a glance. The CAT cab, while functional, felt incrementally more dated to operators who had spent shift after shift in the Volvo. The back pain, at the end of a long shift, which the Quisoup audience has documented in comment after comment, was lower on the Volvo. The wrist fatigue from joystick travel was lower on the Volvo. The hours per week of operator-reported physical complaint were lower on the Volvo. Operators talk. Operators tell other operators. Operator turnover in construction is real, and operators rotate between machines, between companies, between fleets, and the operator who spent 6 months on a Volvo EC480E and then moved to a contractor running CAT 336 knew within a week which machine he wanted under him for the next 10 years. That word-of-mouth current, accumulating across thousands of operators, across hundreds of contractors, across multiple continents, started to bend the procurement decision in a direction that Caterpillar's marketing budget could not reverse. The contractor signing the purchase order does not run the machine for 10,000 hours. The operator does. And operators were quietly telling fleet managers what they preferred when the next replacement cycle came up. Quick break before we get into what happened next. If you're following how Caterpillar lost segment after segment, subscribe so the next one lands in your feed. Now, back to it. By the middle of the 2020s, the Volvo EC series share of the global hydraulic excavator market had grown meaningfully across multiple regions. In Europe, Volvo became a default choice on commercial and infrastructure projects, where operator retention and fleet uptime were the controlling metrics. In Asia, Volvo's Korean manufacturing base, from the Samsung Heavy Industries inheritance, gave the company a cost-competitive supply footprint that competed effectively against Japanese and Korean rivals. In North America, the share gain was slower but real, particularly in commercial construction and infrastructure work, where contractors paying attention to lifecycle cost and operator retention started writing Volvo into the spec list alongside Caterpillar and Komatsu. The Quisoup audience has documented the pattern in comment after comment across the channel's excavator videos. I switched to Volvo 5 years ago, and I'm not going back. The CAT had more breakout force, but the Volvo paid me back in fuel and uptime. The Volvo cab is the only place my lower back stops, complaining at 52 years old. The Volvo CE history with Samsung Heavy Industries is worth understanding in detail because it explains how Volvo built the manufacturing depth to scale the operator-first product philosophy globally. Before the 1998 acquisition, Volvo BM had a presence in compact and mid-size construction equipment, but lacked the heavy excavator manufacturing base that would let it compete with Caterpillar, Komatsu, and Hitachi at scale. Samsung Heavy Industries had built a serious excavator manufacturing operation in Changwon, South Korea, with Korean hydraulic engineering talent and a production footprint sized for global supply. When Volvo CE acquired the Samsung HI Construction Equipment division, the company inherited not just the existing product lines, but the entire Korean engineering team, the Changwon factory's manufacturing capability, and a supply chain into the Asian heavy equipment component base. The integration over the following decade combined Swedish operator-first product philosophy with Korean hydraulic engineering depth and Korean manufacturing scale. The resulting EC Series excavator line was designed by Swedish-Korean engineering collaboration and built at competitive cost from a Korean manufacturing base, then sold into global markets, including direct competition with Caterpillar in North America and Europe. The structural advantage of that combination compounded over the next 25 years. CAT's excavator manufacturing base was distributed across legacy American plants with higher cost structures, and the kind of incremental product development that did not match the operator experience leap the Volvo team was making. The Volvo Copilot platform deserves a dedicated discussion because it represents the kind of integrated operator interface investment that defines the modern excavator user experience. Volvo Copilot integrates fuel consumption monitoring, machine health telemetry, dig assist guidance, lift assist functionality, and operator productivity feedback into a touchscreen interface mounted at the operator's right-hand side. The operator can see, at a glance, the current fuel burn rate, the cycle efficiency relative to a benchmark, the hydraulic pressure profile during the current operation, and the maintenance status of the machine's major systems. The interface is designed for an operator's perspective, not a fleet manager's perspective. The information presented is what an operator needs to optimize the current shift, not what a procurement officer needs to evaluate the machine over a 15-year asset life. That distinction matters because operators talk. Operators tell other operators which interfaces feel natural and which interfaces feel like a fleet manager dashboard pretending to be an operator tool. Volvo Copilot has, over the last decade, accumulated a reputation as the interface that operators actually use, and the reputation translates directly into operator preference data that feeds back into procurement decisions when fleet managers ask their operators which machines they want for the next replacement cycle. The cab ergonomics gap that the Quisoup audience has documented in comment after comment has a specific physical basis that is worth naming. The Volvo EC Series cab is built around an operator seat with adjustable lumbar support, adjustable thigh support, adjustable seat tilt, adjustable backrest, and an integrated armrest system that supports the operator's elbows during joystick operation. The joystick travel distance, the resistance curve, and the control response logic are tuned to minimize wrist and forearm fatigue across an 11-hour shift. The cab climate control system maintains a stable operator microclimate during temperature extremes that range from -30 in Nordic winter operations to +45 in Australian and Middle Eastern summer operations. The acoustic insulation reduces operator cabin noise levels to the kind of range that does not contribute to operator hearing degradation over a 15-year career. The visibility profile through the cab, windshield, and side windows is designed for the operator's working sightlines during typical excavator operations, with minimal pillar obstruction and maximum forward visibility during precision dig work. The Caterpillar 336 cab is functional and competently designed, but the operator ergonomics investment in the CAT platform has not kept pace with the Volvo investment over the last 15 years. The cumulative effect on operator back pain, wrist fatigue, hearing degradation, and end-of-shift exhaustion shows up in operator preference data, in operator retention rates, and in operator recommendation patterns that fleet managers track when making procurement decisions. Caterpillar excavators remain capable machines with industry-leading breakout force in many models, and the Caterpillar dealer network globally is the most responsive parts and service organization in heavy equipment. That is the honest framing. The operator experience gap, particularly in cab ergonomics and fuel consumption metrics on comparable applications, is documented. CAT is not gone. CAT is still the default in many specific segments and many specific geographies, particularly where the dealer relationship and the parts logistics carry the decision more heavily than the operator experience tuning. But in the segments where the operator's preference matters most to the procurement outcome, Volvo took share, and the share gain traces directly to the operator-first engineering philosophy that Volvo CE inherited from the Samsung Heavy Industries acquisition and refined through Swedish product culture. The geographic distribution of the Volvo gain across European markets adds detail to the picture. In the Nordic markets specifically, Volvo CE has built operator preference share that is, by industry estimates, structurally entrenched. Norwegian, Swedish, Danish, and Finnish construction equipment fleets specify Volvo EC series excavators as the default for the kind of operator experience and fuel efficiency reasons described above, with CAT appearing in specific applications rather than as the default. In the German and Dutch markets, the picture is more mixed, with Volvo holding meaningful share against CAT, Komatsu, and Hitachi competition. In the British and Irish markets, JCB's domestic presence in the backhoe and compact segments shapes the broader equipment market, and Volvo competes alongside CAT for the midsize and large excavator categories. In the Italian, Spanish, and French markets, the European OEM presence, including Volvo plus Doosan, Hyundai, and the legacy European brands competes against CAT with operator experience and price point arguments that have shifted procurement decisions over the last decade. The cumulative European picture is that CAT's excavator share has compressed across the continent over the last 15 years, while Volvo's share has grown, with the operator experience differential being the most consistent contributing factor across the regional markets. The corporate decision pattern at Caterpillar continues to compound the gap. The headquarters in Irving, Texas, as of 2022, sits roughly 2,000 kilometers from the original Peoria factory floor. The executive layer is increasingly populated by financial engineering backgrounds rather than mechanical engineering backgrounds. The R&D investment in operator experience tuning, the kind of investment that produces a cab interior that beats the competition on operator-reported comfort metrics, does not move the next quarterly earnings number, so it does not get prioritized. Meanwhile, the Volvo CE engineering team in Changwon and in Sweden continues to compound the co-pilot platform, the cab ergonomics, the hydraulic precision logic, and the operator experience moat. There is a comment that surfaced repeatedly on the Kwai-Soup wheel loaders video that captures the operator psychology perfectly. The exact quote: "It's hard to drive a cat with only a joystick, when in Volvo you can make choices who works best for operators." Spelling aside, the message is precise. The operator who has spent meaningful time in both seats has a clear preference, and the preference is reasoned, not emotional. The operator is not anti-American. The operator is not pro-European. The operator is pro-shift end, pro-back, pro-fuel bill, pro-cycle time, pro-uptime. The operator's preference is a data-driven decision made by the person in the seat for 11 hours a day, and the operator's preference has been telling fleet managers and procurement officers for 15 years to put Volvo on the spec sheet. If you've operated an excavator in the last decade, drop the brand and model in the comments. Tell me when you switched, what made you switch, and how the back pain compared. Let's see how many of us made the same call on real job sites, before any boardroom in Texas figured out what was happening. Every operator who switched to Volvo a decade ago saw this coming long before the boardroom in Texas admitted it. The fuel bills told the story. The cab ergonomics told the story. The back, at the end of the shift, told the story. The co-pilot display told the story. The smart professionals read it early. The MBAs are still pretending they didn't. See you in the next one.